Happy Wednesday, winners. You are now tuned in to the 114th episode of the Ladies in Motion podcast, Talk It Out, where we shine light on women that's winning in the local community. I'm your host, Madam Walker, and I'm super excited, y'all, to shine light on this week's winning lady. But before I introduce her formally, I need everyone tuned in to share today's episode. This is an episode about confidence, finding your voice, walking in your purpose that you do not want to miss, okay? Our share goal is 50. Okay, and we've exceeded that only one other time with Millicent Reed, over 100 shares, and I need everybody to get to it, okay? 50 shares. I know we can do it, y'all, and this is a winning lady that you do not want to miss the opportunity to hear from. So share this video if you care, y'all, because somebody will be impacted, inspired, or empowered from today's winning lady, okay? So, as I mentioned earlier, y'all, she is a woman that is winning, and that's what we do here. We shine light on the women that are winning in their local community. This woman is making moves globally and internationally, I'll say. She's born and raised in New Orleans. She said it with her accent before we went live, okay? And she came to Atlanta in 2002 to pursue her education at Clark Atlanta University, and she's been killing it 20 years plus in the Atlanta area. Right now, she's empowering the community. She's empowering women, and she's using her voice, y'all. She has an upcoming event coming up, and we're just going to get the inside scoop of it all. I need you all to give a warm welcome to the Queen Aftan Williams, y'all.
Hey,
welcome.
Everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you. Congratulations on 114th episode.
Thank you so
magnificent.
much. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to just chop it up, y'all. This is my first time meeting her. But, you know, they don't gatekeep here. Okay? And Millicent, shout out to Millicent. We're going to do some shout outs.
Hey, Millicent. Shout
yes,
out
y'all. She's been a true blessing to this platform, plugging me up with women every single week. I keep saying she's responsible for my whole rollout almost. Okay?
Come on. She's the casting director at this point.
Yes.
And the talent agent.
She really is, madam. Book my girl. Okay? Take it to the next level. But I will say something that she said to me when we first met. She said, if you don't thrive in 2025, that's on you. So I've been on my own neck. I got my foot on my own neck in this season, and I'm just super excited to shine light on you and just keep walking in my purpose. Okay. So the word of the week this week is confidence, and Millie helped boost my confidence this year with that. So I appreciate her one time for her. And I have to give a shout out real quick to Moniek Garside. She was also featured on my podcast through Millicent Reed, and she has a event coming up April 6th. It's called I Can, I Will, Building Balance Through Self-Care, Boundaries, and Connecting, okay? And it's going down this Sunday, April 6th, 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m., okay? So shout out to my girl Monique. Make sure you guys follow her if you can, and you will, and you need this boost of confidence this 2025, okay? So are you ready, Queen Aftan?
I am ready. Let's dive in. I'm ready to win with you.
We are already winning. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out before we get started?
Yeah, I do. I want to shout out the entire 116 new members of the Scepter sector. It has been magnificent to be the Scepter Circle. We expanded to 501 women, but now we've zoomed in to the 116 for the Scepter sector, and I really want to applaud and thank and uplift my built-in support system called the Scepter sector.
So I want to talk about that first then, since you started with that. Congratulations, by the way. That is huge. Tell me about what are you saying? Sector.
Sector. Like a scepter you wave.
Okay, sector. Sector. Okay.
Individual section.
So tell me about this. How did this get started? How you come about to find this community? Because community, especially amongst women, is so important, especially if you're a woman that is winning. And to me, a woman that is winning is one who is I always say community leader, an entrepreneur, business owner. You know, this is not an easy walk to walk in. So to have that sisterhood is very important. So tell me how you come about that and finding that sisterhood.
Well, I will self-define and say that I am a type A personality. Type A personalities, raise your hand out there. Okay. I am one, and many times with that, you do things on your own so that the ball doesn't get dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And should the ball drop, you're going to go down the street, get it, because you have something that needs to be accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel deep down inside, if I was to be handed a team, then I would operate accordingly. So it started with just 7 other ladies. 8 is my favorite number. It's the number of new beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted for 8 of us to become a force to be each other's built-in support system and team.
Mm-hmm.
And it did work for a year. Started back in 2021. It worked.
Okay.
And then we made an expansion to another cohort, which made us have 16 women. Now, that one, didn't work as well as the first one.
Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
We came on down to 12 because people will weed themselves out accordingly when it is not right or when they are not for you.
Mm-hmm.
Many times, whatever God is doing, you don't have to worry about making the difficult movements. He will go before you and do it because this is what you are supposed to be doing. He's going to make the crooked way straight and the difficult things easy.
Mm-hmm.
And so then after we had our cohort of 16, I was like, okay, we've got to make this public. Other women need to know what we have going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put it out there like a group on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. We are a surroundment, a circumference, if you will, of sisterhood and a built-in team and a ready-made support system with a sprinkle of Jesus juice because you're going to get this Jesus. When you come over here to the Deceptive Sector, it is what it is. We are who we are. We are a queendom operating in the kingdom way. And when I did that, a floodgate opened and I then had a membership of 501 women. And while that sounds magnificent, what you get when you do a free and open public forum for women are those who are active participators and those who are stagnant and silent. And in order for us to be successful, I needed to weed out the stagnant and silence so that the active could become the norm. Because if I have this big event and I am counting on the stagnant, silent, and actives to all participate, because that's what I'm thinking, 500. If I'm 501, if I'm the one, I'm thinking 500 people about to pop off with me.
Right.
But it doesn't always happen that way. And I understand. We are women's mom. We are nurses. We are doctor, lawyer, preacher, teacher. We are your everything. And sometimes you're nothing at all. And I get that. But if I tell you a date in advance, honey bunches of oats.
Okay.
And you should be able to come and participate and sit in with me and be my support system as I have been yours. So in order to get to something new, I had to rebrand, change the name because people had gotten so used to the Scepter Circle. And you can still be a part of the Scepter Circle. I mean, that's like general admission. But for the VIP, it's the Scepter Sector. And it's just going to be 116 of us for now. After we see what we need to do, after we see how we can work it out, then we will expand and open it up a bit wider. Because what I did find, now, you all don't know me yet, but I hope that you will get to know me by following me and coming out and being supportive of yourself. But if you know me, you know I'm always doing a free doggone event. That's what I do. I have a hard time charging people admission.
Okay.
I just do. And I loathe paying for parking. It makes my skin itch real bad.
So I'm excited to talk about just that in a whole, because to me, someone with that passion and purpose, it doesn't start just now. It's always been little seeds planted, in your life along the way. So I'm super excited. And she is, she not just talking about it. She has a free event coming up and we're going to talk about that today. Because I think it's amazing that you're doing a free event. And we in Atlanta, nothing is free here, all the way down to the parking. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited to just continue to now, since you said all that, I'm ready to take it back to the beginning and really just get to know you. Okay. You said you was born and raised in New Orleans.
At 504, you heard me.
504, you heard. I love the accent. So let's just talk about like your childhood, just for a second. Like when you were younger, did you have that circle when you were younger? Is that something that was developed? Do you have siblings? I'm just curious to know what that early foundation was like for you.
The early foundation is that I started something when I was 8 years old called the Lollipop Club.
Okay, so you've been on this. I'm telling you.
Yeah, my mom was like, I wish I would have nurtured this. You could have been a child star. We could have been doing things. But we had like a shelter, barnish looking type thing in the back. And it had spider webs and all those things. But and I was a girl's girl, but I still went in there. I cleaned it up. And while we were playing outside, and that's cute, but one time when I skipped my knee, I was like, yeah, I don't do the play outside anymore. My knee is bleeding. I don't like that. So I wanted for the young ladies in my neighborhood, all the girls, to come together and you sit with each other. And if you get a lollipop, you can talk. If you don't have a lollipop, you can't talk yet because we all want to express ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lollipop club back then, and all the neighborhood girls was a part. There was no like, I ain't coming. No, everybody came.
That's what's
And
up.
it was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that foundation was built there.
Mm-hmm.
Later on in life, I read an article about a 10-year-old girl that got pregnant for a 22-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not grow up where people were not applauding me.
Mm-hmm.
I did not grow up in a household where it was like, you can't do it. It was very much like, yes, you can,
Mm-hmm.
what you need, I got you. And it was also a lot of truth telling. Like, oh, you thought you could do that. That's probably not your area. Let's see what else we can explore.
Okay, we
I
need
grew
that
up
too.
with you're pretty, you're amazing, you're
That's what's
magnificent. I grew up with that.
Mhm.
My grandmother had 12 children, my mom being the eighth child. So I had an embracement, a village that was already made when I came out of the womb. Most people have to find their village.
Right.
Like, I'm an only child, I say, but I do have a half sister. But I'm an only child, my mother's only child.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, sometimes when you're an only child, you have to go and find community, build it yourself, and seek tribe. But my tribe was already there. My grandmother was busy, so she had 12 whole entire children, and their children had children, my cousins, and things of that. So I have an 18 uncle, big giant goodness circle.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, nobody was there to tear down. Everybody was there to build up, and I wanted that
Mm-hmm.
for other girls too. And I felt like that 10-year-old girl, I didn't feel like she would get the love. I didn't feel like she would get the push. I didn't feel like she would get the empowerment that it takes to develop yourself into the knowledge that you are royalty, you are a queen no matter what anybody has to say.
Right.
It's embedded in you biblically,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also embedded in you scientifically
Mm-hmm.
and historically.
Mm-hmm.
So get your life, whoever don't think it is what it is.
I love that.
You are the very highest royalty. And I was like, well, I want these other young ladies to know it and for them to have a safe haven to come and hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Because in New Orleans, let's just face it, people be like, oh, girl, you so stupid, you ugly, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to say, oh, you are powerful, you are amazing, you are magnificent, and no matter what you have done,
Yes.
your queendom cannot be erased.
And okay, so you said so much, and I love this because you shared that with me, and you were only 15. You said when you read the article, so it's not like you were some grown woman that seen this need, because we are grown women today, and we see grown women that can't decipher, but as a 15-year-old, you even seen that need, and an only child, but having that sense of community. I love that for you. I really do. So I wanted to ask you, like, as a young child who started the Lollipop Club, what did you even see yourself doing? Like, okay, we're our senior year in school, we're about to step into the real world. What was Queen Aftan's mindset like around that time? What was it that you thought you'd be doing as an adult? What was your plan?
I wanted to be a pediatrician.
Okay.
I wanted to help heal the people. And then I saw how much school you had to do. And then it's going to be a lot of blood and stuff.
Right.
I don't think I want to do that. But
so
by
funny.
virtue of me being active in my church, when you're an active youth, then they use you for stuff. Oh, now you're the leader of this. Now you can sing this solo. Now you'll be here over this department. And guess what it did? It made me highly unafraid of people. I am afraid of no one, 0 person. Unless I meet Angela Bassett, then I might be a little verklempt. But other than that, I'm not afraid of people at all. And it gave me a boldness to be able to stand before folks, even as a little girl. They might do little things. Hey, read the scripture today. And so that was in front of I went to a mega church, if you will.
Okay.
So it was very much like, you get up there, you do it. My mom was a part of starting the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship International with Bishop Paul S. Morton way back in 94, 96.
Okay.
I would say they started it together, if you will. Because she was the international director of events and planning, and I'm bringing that up because I came from the mother church of that movement, a movement that's now almost 20 years in, because I came from that, right, or 30, over 30 years in, excuse me, because I came from that. then we had to do all the things to start.
Yep.
We were the youth department.
Mm-hmm.
We were the people that taught the choreography. We were the packet stuffers.
Mm-hmm.
We were the volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
We were the behind the stage help. We were the dancers during praise and worship. It was us.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I had that, and they also knew who my mother was, it was very much like, yep, Queen will do it. Bring Queen up. Queen got it. Queen's gonna pick it up. Queen will pull the coat. Queen will pass out the papers.
Mm-hmm.
Queen will count the money. I was doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my hands in a lot of pots, and I did not have a time to be fearful.
Mm-hmm.
That whole, do it afraid.
Yeah.
I never do it afraid.
You're doing it with confidence, and you're doing it
Why
boldly.
would you do something? If you're scared, have a seat. This is, don't do this.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
Be nervous
Mm-hmm.
and do it.
Right.
But afraid, you scared, you're fearful. Don't put your fear on me when you get to that mic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start no movement and you scared of me. I don't want that.
I love
But
that.
be nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But don't you ever be afraid. And that was put in me, that was instilled in me to do things in your own boldness, but also some Holy Ghost boldness on the side.
I love that you shared that. So even like in my own community, when I started doing a lot of the stuff that I was doing, I told people I knew I could do it because I grew up in church doing the same thing. So I just find it so interesting that you say that because, and that'll bring me into what I'm going to say next. I always say that's where I found my voice. That's where I had my confidence truly in church, learning how to speak in front of people, just singing, whether it's dancing, that sense of community. We volunteering, like you said, train up a child.
Okay.
And the way that you should go, that's what the words say, So shout out to our parents,
Yes, parents.
Yes, shout out to the parents out there who just
Clarence
really...
and Marianne.
Okay, period. Shout out to your parents. They did a great job. Only child.
Same.
I can't get over that. And thank you so much. So, you just said so much and it's like, wow, just taking me back for a little bit. But I love that. So you've always had this confidence as a young person. And, you've always kind of found your voice, so to say, so when you got to high school and you knew that you were going to go to Clark Atlanta, as I mentioned, let's just talk about that. So that was your plan. What was it? Did you see entrepreneurship? Did you see that you probably knew that you'd be empowering women and maybe using your voice, hosting events? Like, I'm just curious, what did you see for yourself?
Sure. I thought I would be a Spelmanite. I was going to Spelman.
Mm-hmm.
It was what it was and all that. But I went on some college tours, as you should do when you're trying to get into the college of your choice. And I visited, and they say, oh, yes, the freshman dorms don't have any air conditioning. I said, oh, wow, I won't be going there.
Next.
Thank you. But then I discovered the AUC. And I was like, okay, what's this? And it sparked me to go to Clark Atlanta University. Everybody was so nice, so embracing. Shout out to the Wu-Tang Clan. That's our little group that we began with. And that's how they embrace us. I went to the HBCU, honey. Everything's going to have a little sprinkle of supreme blackness on it. And so I felt so good. I felt so loved. I felt so cared for. I felt like, okay, I am going to this school. It's by Spelman. And I have interactiveness with Spelman and Morehouse and Morris Brown. But Clark Atlanta was where I needed to be. In high school, I absolutely was a part of lots of clubs and organizations and leadership. I was captain of the modern dance team, and I was in the second period choir that went on tour and all the things. But Crown Up, which at first was MUSIC, meaning Music Uniting Sisters Initiating Courage, Character, and Care. And I know that's a lot, but I was 15, okay?
Dang, man.
That's what I wanted. And I would have different New Orleans speakers and those who would come and not be afraid to share with the young ladies. And I did that for a while. Came to Atlanta, it became I Am a Queen Foundation.
Okay.
I Am a Queen Foundation changed because people thought that we were some kind of production company.
Okay.
It was I Am a Queen Productions. Because I was saying we were producing queens, but they didn't get that.
Okay,
so I'm a Queen Productions changed into, we thought y'all were filming. Okay. So I did I'm a Queen Foundation. I'm a Queen Foundation was great. But then there was an I'm a Queen Foundation in Tennessee. And they thought we were them. And I was like, man. So change it to Hierarchy Royalty. Loved Hierarchy Royalty. And I did that because the ladies who were bringing their daughters were like, okay, and what about my son? What you gonna do with him? Hierarchy, the people couldn't spell it. Okay, now we're doing something else. So now we have landed at Crown Up International, which those three words should be in everyone's vocabulary and we should be all right. But Crown Up International Corps is for those young ladies and men who are 8 to 18 years old. We teach them about their worth as royalty and how to carry themselves as kings and queens.
Mhm.
We do it through different initiatives, gatherings, outings, and the like, and of course events. And it turns out to be awesome. However, right now, all my babies are like grown up.
They grown
They
now,
done
and that's
grew up.
crazy.
So we're heading into like another round of that new recruitment of good young ladies and young men to become that. So I'm not saying that I knew it,
Mhm.
but I'm saying I understood that community service was my heart and my passion, and I wanted to do it. I'm fortunate enough to be a two-time recipient of the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award.
Congratulations.
Yes, from both Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
Oh,
And I
that's
feel
what's
really
up.
fortunate for over 8,000 hours of community service. That's why I be doing stuff for free, but I feel rewarded. I feel like, yes, let's do this.
Mhm.
Let's build community together.
And the reward doesn't always have to be monetary.
Yeah,
You
but
know
I
what
like
mean?
a monetary reward. Huh? We're not going to act like we don't like a monetary reward, but it's okay if the fulfillment is that you are enriched, that you are empowered, and you have fortitude to go to the next level.
So you, Crown Up International, you said you started that, and I seen that in the bio you have like a confidence movement. You actually have a lot going on. You do have a lot going on actually. From Crown Up International, Prepare for Rain. But in the midst of that, this is what I wanted to say. Before it became Crown Up International, it was, you said, a bunch of different names. So I wanted to talk about pivoting because it's a prime example of pivoting, and that's not the first time, even just having your mindset on Spelman, then okay, they don't got no AC, pivot, what I mean? So you've been pivoting pretty much, for a long time. So I just want to talk about that. Like in the process of pivoting, what is your mindset? Like, are you discouraged because you had your mindset on something and that pivot just kind of threw you for a loop, or, you're prepared for pivots? What does that do for you? What's your mindset?
I will add a word. I am palatially prepared for pivots all the time because my goal is the palace. Come on, Peace.
Okay, Peace. Come on, alliteration.
Come on, Peace.
The ones that know.
Because I have had no choice.
No choice.
I'm an only child. Only children know how to zip up their dress themselves. Before I came in here, I put these on. Now we're gonna pivot. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to hurry up and get okay, and we're gonna pivot. Either way. So I think that the preparedness for pivoting is the root cause of my mother always adjusting to ensure that her and I had a great life. I saw the example in front of my face, and then I had no choice but to mimic it. So when you have an example, then you can mimic excellence. I think it's a great thing, and I feel very privileged, another P, to have that experience.
Oh gosh, I love this so much. Prepare for rain. Let's talk about that. Okay, what does that mean? What does preparing for rain look like for you? Just tell me about that in itself.
You've made me nervous talking about that. I am not fearful nor afraid, but I'm nervous speaking about that.
Really?
Because that is the thing that, you know how people say, what if God calls you to do something that's really huge? And you're like, oh, junk. Who doing that? Sheila? Because it ain't me. But prepare for rain makes me nervous because I have been procrastinating a lot with it. A lot.
Because you're nervous. Do you think that's where the procrastination is coming from?
The procrastination is coming from because I'm a perfectionist.
Love it.
Minor. Not major, but I am a minor perfectionist. And I just don't want to launch out the gate with an unfinished product.
Right.
And I know everybody says you have to start somewhere. But this is huge, and I am shaking in my boots a little bit about it. But I want to do it. I need to do it. I have to do it. I just experienced one of my close friends. He passed away the other day, and I didn't even know he was sick like that. But they made a big announcement on a huge platform, and I was like, oh man. And it prompted me to say, and I hate that death is sometimes our fuel.
Yeah.
But it prompted me to say, all right, I got to do this. And guess what? When I look back over the things, I have done a lot of preparation for it already.
Yeah.
I have made the deck. I created the logo.
Mm-hmm.
It's just putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nerve-wracking, especially because I need to seek investors. Again, I'm not a money girl like that.
Mm-hmm.
I I hope that someone would just say, here's XYZ amount of dollars, just go do what you need to do. I would love that.
Mm-hmm.
But to have to seek it and to have to try to see how much it costs to bring in XYZ people or persons, because I do have a dream list
Mm-hmm.
of speakers. But I'll tell you right now, so Prepare for Rain, REIGN, is an endeavor that is a conference. I It's not just a conference, it's a conglomerate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a book, it's an avenue, it's a pageant system.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole bunch of things. And the first thing that's going to come out of it is called the Crown Prince.
Okay.
Trademark pending. All right, because watch out. Watch out. Okay, patent pending. The Crown Prince is a place of solitude where we find balance in Christendom. Because a lot of times we're just taught, oh, your stomach hurt, go to church. You got a problem, take it to God.
Mm-hmm.
This happened to you, you're going to be all right. Here's the scripture for it, all that.
You sound like a preacher.
But the balance we sometimes miss.
Mm-hmm.
So the promise is this wonderful atmosphere that's going to be like, hey, you as this great woman of God, you up there preaching, but you need a girdle.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? You need foundation on.
Mm-hmm.
You praying for me in my face, you need a peppermint.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the conference is going to be all about. We're going to have some 100 moments, but we're going to give the tools that maybe church did not give us, but should have.
Mm-hmm.
And that, in a nutshell, kind of is Prepare for Rain. And I'm so happy I talked about it today, but I am nervous about it. But I am going to do it in 2025.
And she's not going to do it afraid.
Absolutely not. I ain't afraid of nothing.
Okay, going to do it boldly. But I do want to ask you, so because you do have that, reservation about that, like, what do you do? And who do you consult with, when you are having those moments of, like, nervousness, What is a person? Because you're so confident. And maybe people, like, may look at you and not even think that you feel nervousness because you walk in your boldness, So I just want to know for the people watching and they're strong people and they may need some help. What do you do in those moments?
I have tried.
That's a blessing.
Tribe is built, I believe. Village may come, but I think tribe is built.
Mm.
Tribe you have to select. Tribe you have to approve.
Mm-hmm.
Tribe has to prove themselves. Tribe comes from experience. I have tried.
I love that.
I'm excited about my tribe. I have weeded out the people who put on the tribe t-shirt but just got it from the gift shop and were not really a part of my tribe.
Mm-hmm.
I have been able to see better people. My discernment is sharper.
And we're going to talk about that.
And I have tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Not just any old one-of-the-mill tribe, but those women who I lean and depend on who would also pray. And now there's a man added. But
Mm-hmm.
I have tried that I know without a shadow of a doubt that would have me, that would push me, that would understand me, and that would defend me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how I press forward. Mm-hmm. And they are also what we all need.
Mm-hmm.
They are my secret keepers. I don't have a lot of secrets, but ideas come to me all the time, as you can see.
Yeah. Since you've been young.
Okay. But they don't try to execute my ideas before I get a chance to.
That's a blessing.
They don't try to tear down the idea. They understand the assignment and they press forward with me.
Mm-hmm.
I have tried.
So I want to ask you about discernment. Just because as a woman, I'm in my 30s, and I'm getting better at it now, but in my 20s, I really struggled with discernment, I would say. So I want to ask you, like, when people that did get their tribe t-shirt from the gift shop and they wasn't really real tribers, when they did weed out themselves, how did you handle that? Because it's tough, but you do realize that what they say, separation comes before elevation. But I want to ask you, how does it? Because it does hurt. Because that don't mean it don't hurt though. So How do you handle when your tribe, the fake tribers, are weeding themselves out, and you're having to cut people off and just move on your journey? How do you handle that? Because like we said, it does hurt. That don't mean it don't hurt. How do you handle that?
I grieve.
You give yourself the time to grieve. And what does grieving look like during that time?
I get extremely hurt by people.
Mm-hmm.
Other people say, sticks and stones and all that. Words and that. No, words hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
Words and actions hurt me real bad.
Yeah, they do.
Because I have a belief system in you. I guess I have like only child syndrome. So letting you in is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when a man gets married. People take that lightly. Like, oh, he should have been married, huh? But what he's doing is putting away all of the possibilities, all of the women that he could have, all of the coulda, woulda, shouldas go into a basket and go away. And he's saying, I choose you. And that's what I do with my friends. Friends, by my definition, are the family you get a chance to choose. And so if I chose you, and you my people, and I mean that, and you my people in public, you my people in private, you my people to my family. Well, it hurts real bad when you are not who you say. And it really hurts when there is you want to be me, and then you go and let me tell you something notorious that people do. They come around me, and they come and love on me, and I'm like, oh yes, I mean we're hanging and doing the things, and then two things happen. One, they're either with me because of the clients that I have, and then when I'm kind of out of the season where I'm not with those clients anymore, then they start to dwindle off, and it's like, oh, okay, that's what you are here for. And then the other thing they do is say, oh, okay, girl, I think I'm gonna just get out of the group. I do this, and you know what they go do? Start their own women's group. I hate it.
Yes.
I don't like that.
Because there's a connection, a collaboration over that, competing with each other, or that's unnecessary.
And I'm not saying you can't have your women's group, but girl, you could have told me.
Right.
We could have collabed.
Exactly.
But stealing or pretending is so not an adult quality.
Yeah.
What a childish thing.
Childish. I was just going to say childish.
Grow up, my girl. And so I get hurt because I have taken my belief system and put it all the way in you. And I thought that it was reciprocal, but it wasn't.
Does that sometimes make you, or have you ever found yourself like not being who you were because of that? Or do you still, you're strong enough to realize, okay, that was them. I know how to still walk in who Queen Aftan is,
It just sharpened my discernment.
Okay.
That's it. I just see you early.
Now you see it from right away.
Oh, shoot. You had on that little lamb's clothing, but you a snake, girl. I ain't know.
Okay.
I can now hear your hissing.
We're not ignoring the red flag.
The bleating of the lamb sometimes would drown out who you really were. But now I hear you hiss. Because what people, oh, sis, that's got a hiss.
I like that. We said, don't call me sis no more now. You done said something else.
I call my people sister because I'm not hissing at you. But I can see it now.
I love that.
From where it is. I see a little tail coming through the grass now. I see a little colors. I see a little skin shedding where I could not see it before because I loved you no matter what.
Before, we talk about your upcoming event, I do just want to ask you this too. When you graduated college, did you ever think to go back to New Orleans where it all started or somewhere else, or you just still knew that you wanted to be in Atlanta around this? And what is it about Atlanta? I just want to hear from you.
Definitely wasn't going back to New Orleans.
You wasn't going back there. It's a lot of people from New Orleans.
I love my city.
Yes.
I do. But I got away from it for a reason. As a matter of fact, fun fact, I came to CAU as a 16-year-old.
Really?
I was 16 when I graduated.
Wow.
And I came to Clark, Atlanta. And my mom allowed me to be in a whole other city and stay by myself. Of course, she had her own village, her own tribe looking after me who lived in Atlanta. But no, I would not go back. Now, what I will do in New Orleans is get real estate.
Okay.
What I would do in New Orleans is support their endeavors and, community feats. But to live there, I wouldn't. Atlanta is great. When I came in '02, it was definitely the Black Mecca. It was moving, shaking. Everybody was cutting their hair. There was no perms and relaxers going on. Baby, people was natural.
Okay.
It was the thing. People was just now discovering shea butter, and it was going up.
Love some shea butter.
Yes, and so I loved it, and I really wouldn't trade Atlanta unless I get married and my husband wants to go somewhere else. But for right now, I'm ATL. But it's nothing peachy about me. It's 504 all day. Who that? You heard me. I'll never be a Phil Kent fan, just so it's clear.
Listen, you hear it in the accent. You tripped me out at the beginning. You said you heard me. I immediately thought about Birdman and Lil Wayne came in my head. Right off the bat. That's why I came in. So before we talk about your free event coming up, I just want to talk about how I even came in contact with you. You were the host of the Call for More event that was
shout out to Hazel.
Yeah, shout out to Hazel, who sits down with me next week. Our word of the week is pivot, and we just talk a lot about that. These P's, pushing P's. It's not just a song these days. We're pushing it in real life. Okay, but I just want to talk about that event because some dynamic women were at that event also, and you were the host of that event. And I host events also, but I just want to hear it just from you, especially to host such a monumental event. Hazel has those events all the time. It was some powerhouse women in the building, and so the word of the week is confident. So I just want to talk about you being in a room filled with other powerhouse women as a powerhouse yourself. What does that do for you? Why do you love these events? Does that build to your confidence? Do you ever walk in with your tail tuck, which I know that's not, but just, share it with the people. I want to know what was your experience like just hosting events in general and that particular event?
Sure. I am not a tail tucker. I go in out the gate. We in there. Mm-hmm. My energy is going to be up because as a host, really, I don't know what you got going on. I don't know what you're going through. And I count myself as a host or an MC to be the audience navigation system. Mm-hmm. And if I am steering you in the wrong direction, then I am not doing my job correctly. So I feel like when I have a mic or when I am on a stage or when I am tasked with hosting or emceeing, or even being a voiceover talent or a keynote speaker, I have to guide you in some way. I have to push you forward. I have to make sure that you experience elevation by the time I leave the stage, by the time I hand over the mic, as I am operating in what you called for me to do, because I am not only representing myself, but I am representing the furtherance of the vision of that particular visionary. So yes, I get catapulted. I get full. I get empowered. At Called for More, I spoke a lot about pourers. I asked who are pourers. People were so clueless at first, like, she's talking about a pourer. But what I mean is, when you have an empty vessel, a lot of us, you are a pourer. I am a pourer. Always pouring out, always giving, always making sure. But who is the filler of the empty pitcher? Because people don't often even want you by the time you have poured out so much. You have nothing to give. I gave an analogy about going to the refrigerator and thinking you about to drink that white grape juice, and baby, they got a corner left. So upsetting. Why y'all ain't just get a new one?
It's so
who drunk this whole thing? You could have just threw it away. All those things. So make sure that around you, your tribe, your village are fillers of your pitcher, because you are going to do that automatically. And so I got just so excited about those women and men who are there, who are very much in the understanding space that they are called for more. And if they didn't know it when they crossed the threshold initially, they knew it by the time they left.
So the event did what it needed to do.
It did what it needed to do. But yeah, but hosting, I love to host. You can put me anywhere. I love to host. I love to MC. Pageant MCing is another one of my favorite specialities.
Really?
I'm a 16-time pageant winner. Okay. So I love to move and navigate a pageant. But I am telling you, hosting something. Do you want to know a story about Beyonce and why I host?
Yes.
I can make it quick.
Okay, let's do it.
I went on tour on the one too. It was Jay-Z and Beyonce's tour. I was working with Live Nation with the audience. And we get to places and people will have been there since 7 a.m. for a 7 p.m. show.
Wow.
Just very wild. And which means that people are hangry, which means that people have attitudes and whatever by the time we're set up and by the time we're ready to navigate the VIPs. And so There was a really great lady who would come out with Live Nation every time she would pull out her mini megaphone and be like, "Hey everyone, this is what we're doing." Wherever people be like, "No," but I wouldn't have a megaphone, and I know them people, but I just say, "All right, this is what we are doing. Get your life. If you're in silver, go this way. If you are gold, go that way. This is what we're having. What's your favorite Beyonce song? Okay, get over there, baby, because you look like you're crazy in love. Let's keep it pushing." And from that engagement, because people was listening to me with no megaphone, I asked God. I said, "Now what am I supposed to do with this?"
Mm-hmm.
My voice changes when I'm supposed to navigate a crowd. You you got me doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Mm-hmm.
And the word of the Lord to me was that you are supposed to move masses.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I don't like that. Okay, Lord, what you want me to do? And then after that, I received 3 prophecies from 3 different people that spoke about global stages.
Mm-hmm.
Further on down the line, then someone spoke about masses of women, global stages, and extreme wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the prophecies that I received. And I am y'all don't know this, I'm a very behind the scenes girl at first. I have clientele where I was doing administration and organization for people's personal, private, and business affairs in all the management scopes and spaces with no problem, because you know my stock is the director of the international director of business and planning. My mom was. So that's all I do. I know administration. I can administrate your life, your heart, your closet, and all kind of other things. I can do it. But God said in order for you to get those extreme wealth, global stages, and masses of women together, like the purpose is designed in you to do, you have to come from behind the scenes. And so I came from behind the scenes, nervous, but not afraid.
Amen.
Once I found my voice, that's on the one tours where I found my voice, and I began to execute accordingly.
I love to hear that story, because you get to see, God move in real time. Like you said, someone else was doing the same thing you was doing, but didn't. No one made a move. But as soon as they heard your voice, the masses moved. Exactly what the prophecy was said. So that's such a blessing. I love that for you. I can't wait to witness just everything God does for you, because that's what this platform is about. I'm a person. If Queen Aftan can do it, then I can do this. It may be a different journey to get there, but if she can walk boldly in her purpose and get somewhere, then I can do the same thing too. That's why Matthew 5:16, I always say, "Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify."
This is good work.
Exactly. This is nothing what God is doing. Nothing but what God is doing, what God is giving you. And it's just a fun fact. You telling your testimony, then I'll go on. But before Ladies in Motion and LIM was that, I had so many different names too. I had a meeting with a group of women like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." God said, "No, this is what you're doing." And so I learned.
You should stop right there, because that's a big thing. We as ladies, we want to take everybody with us, because we believe in folks.
Yes.
But God said, "No, do you." That's a big deal.
Yes, and that's why I asked you that. Like, how do you deal with that? Because I'm a lover. I love everybody. Even friends. If you've ever been my friend, you've been at Thanksgiving, you've been at Easter. Like, everybody knows. My whole family embraces the friends that turn into family, like family. So I be hurt. When I found out you got your shirt from the gift shop. I'm blown when I found out the tribe shirt came from the gift shop. But I'm just learning to still, no matter what, walk boldly. God is sending me my tribe. Even being a Florida girl here, I've thought so many times, like, man, Florida, we up in here. You better know it, okay? But yeah, just him sending me my tribe and me saying so many times, like, "Oh, I'm in Georgia alone," and then I'll meet someone like Camilla said, or meet someone like you. They're like, "No, you're not alone. Your tribe is out here," So I'm just grateful to hear your story, and it just encourages me. Like, I'm seeing myself, I think, down the line, like someone who's confident, walking in it, hosting events, confidently moving masses. So I just love that, to hear that story. That was a blessing to hear. So you have an event coming up, and I know I keep saying it, but I want to ask you about being a voiceover artist. Also, because I think that's amazing that you're into that, and I've done like research on that, and I'm curious to know, like, how does one get into that? Someone from New Orleans, did you ever think that you'd be in that? How did you even fall into that lane? I'm curious to know.
I did it because when I speak, people always say, "I love your voice," when I'm hosting. And like right now, this is not my hosty voice, but when I am hosting, People always say that. And I was like, well, I know that I could morph into different voices. Again, I grew up with a lot of cousins, and in specificity, my cousin Brittany and I, we can do a lot of accents, we can do a lot of voices together. And I was like, well, let's just get into some voiceover things. And I will say, voiceover industry breaking in is hard. I won't lie to you. I don't get a lot of voiceover work. But I know that I am capable, and sometimes what you have to do is do your own voiceovering wherever you want to do it. If you go to my page and scroll, I went to Bridgerton's pop up when it was in Atlanta.
Okay.
And the people were like, you from London? You from? No, that's just an accent, girl. I'm from New Orleans, born and raised. But if you scroll on my page, you'll see how I can transform more and more. Social media has afforded us all to be able to do whatever we want to do, how we want to do, when we want to do, and if we want to do it. Be it a podcast, be it a vision, be it an idea, we can just do whatever we want. So I would say if you would like to get into voiceover work or artistry and be a talent therein, then do it yourself. Just started. One of my biggest things I did, I guess, was a radio commercial for for Atlanta luxury bags. And I love that. And I created my own script and I did it for them. They loved it and they put it on the radio and it ran for about 6 weeks. But with that being said, it's sometimes you have to just do it yourself, submit it yourself. And if you want to work with a specific brand, get those brand products, talk about the thing, and do the voice overing over the product. And they're like, who is that voice? It's mine. Are you going to pay me for it? Thanks. And let's get it together. So I won't say that it's an easy industry, but I would say if you want to do it yourself.
Prime example, what I heard, sometimes you gotta create the table. Yeah, and put yourself in rooms. You know, like you said, you went to the Bridgerton and they thought you was from London, but no, I'm from what?
Yeah, New Orleans.
Period. So I want to talk about this event before we wrap up. The Heavy Crowns free event is going down Monday, April 7th at 7 p.m. Tell me about the history of this event, because this is not your first one. Because I was doing my little scrolling.
Thank you for looking.
So I love that. So this is not your first one, but you have one coming up. So I'd like to talk about just the history of the event and then how it has got to the event that we're gonna be able to witness Monday on April 7th. So
this is probably my favorite question. Okay, so here's the history, right? I was on the road with my mom and my nanny. Well, godmother. We say nanny in New Orleans.
Okay.
On the road with my mom and my nanny, and we stopped at a restaurant to re-up because we had a little journey. And so there was a guy who was coming, and he was our server. And they were like, "You don't see him? You don't see he's interested?" I was like, "Interested? He cute and he has a job." And I was like, "Oh, that's y'all only standard. He's cute and he has a job." Also, he was cute too, y'all. Huh? He wasn't cute to me. He wasn't cute. And I let them know that the husband that is for me would not be working at this particular establishment. If he was working at this establishment, he'd be doing it for research purposes because my husband is a franchise owner. Right?
Manifest.
So I said, you know what's happening? We are getting advice that is expired. We are getting advice from the elders that we love, know, and respect, and we're taking it in and bringing it into our 2025 selves. Incorrect. There's other things going on. So where is the space? Where is the hub? Where is the haven where we can come together with people our own age and speak about the things that we can't talk about in church?
Yeah.
Like, I just slept with somebody's husband last night.
The real stuff that's happening.
I really slapped that girl the other day. And she deserved it. Where do you go to talk about that and not be applauded for the foolery? But be surrounded by a good, truthful tribe that you may not even know yet, and get some scripture and powerful backing to let you know how to go down the correct path. And further assure you, like something that you said earlier, is that you are not alone. We all fall short, baby.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Nobody just sits there and just isn't perfect, prim, proper. It's not that we're not striving for excellence. But sometimes we go down whatever path we want because we're human, we flesh and blood.
Right.
So I wanted to create a safe space for women to be able to express themselves who are taking that Christian walk or who are curious about the Christian walk.
Right.
Because some people are turned off by church. Once people get church hurt, they shut down the whole church, not understanding that we are the church. This is the church.
Yes.
The four walls ain't it. The little usher who had a mean face, that's not her.
That's not her anyway.
You know, the little deacon who tried to hit on you, that's not the church. The pastor who ain't have no word and no anointing, that's not the church.
Amen.
The pastor who used all your money to go buy this and that, that's not the church.
Yes.
You are the church. And there are so many good representations of the church around here. So many real ones. And so Heavy Crowns is about that. And this Monday, the 7th, at 7 p.m., we will be at Look at Her Aesthetics, a brand new spa space in Alpharetta, owned by my girl Danielle Lookadoo-Birrell, who is one of our honesty captains, along with prophetess Tara Carissa Hodges. I could just pause right there because all these ladies are going to keep it 100 and maybe even 1,000. And I love that for everybody that's going to attend, including myself. And then I got my girl Raquel Calise, who is also from New Orleans. Oh, Danielle from New Orleans too. We got New Orleans girls. I think Tara may have a little root in New Orleans as well. But I do honesty captains because I make sure that the atmosphere is free enough for people to be able to share. So if you are sharing, if I am sharing, then people often feel okay with telling their story. And so if people have kind of a notability, then it's like, oh, well, she could talk about it. I'm about to talk about this. And we go from there. We sit in a circle so that there are no first rows. And we move forward. It's called Heavy Crowns because it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you are. If you are a lady 25 and up, because that's really our target for Heavy Crowns, you still have on your invisible crown. And though it may be heavy, it still exists. It's still there. And you are capable of carrying it. So that's what Heavy Crowns is. And then we have a caveat called crowning around.
I was going to mention that.
It's like really quick where we just put our hands on the brick and mortar of the place and pray as a unit. So that wherever we left might be strengthened, might be empowered, might be bettered just by us being in the room.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this, y'all. You hear it here first. There's no reason for you not to go. It's completely free.
And bring somebody.
And bring somebody with you, because why? It's completely free. Okay, they don't have to pay. Okay, but the reward that they're gonna get from this is gonna be something that money can't buy anyway. It's gonna be truly another P, priceless. Okay. So really quick, Queen Aftan, tell us where we can follow you, stay connected. If we want more details on the event or just anything that you have coming up, where can we follow you? Drop your website, Instagram handles, everything like that.
All right, so you can follow me at Queen Aftan, Queen, A as in Alpha, F as in Foxtrot, T as in Tango, A as in Alpha, A, N as in November on all social media platforms. And then my website is heyqueenhey.net. Just like it sounds, H-E-Y, Queen, H-E-Y.net. All right, so that's where you can find me. That's where you can follow me. And I would love to engage and possibly follow back and do some real good together.
Thank you so much. Any last words, anything we could be on the lookout for you upcoming next, aside from your Hey Crowns event and you ladies crowning around? Any last minute, anything you'd like to share with the people before we wrap this up?
Sure. April 28th is Throne Thrivers. The place is still being solidified, but the people that are going to be speaking, you definitely want to be there. Again, another free event, but save April 28th, that date. If you stay tuned to my page, you'll see all the updated details. And the last piece of advice I would say is something that I said before, but I was saying it about myself, but now I'll say it to you. Come from behind the scenes. You won't get any work done hiding. This is the last year that you need to hide.
Amen, y'all. And we're going to end this session with that right there, y'all. Come from behind the scenes. We are not behind the scenes and hiding in this season. You heard it here from Queen Aftan first, y'all. Make sure you follow Ladies in Motion on all platforms, ladiesinmotion.llc. Make sure you follow talkitout.lim. Follow us on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and be on the lookout for all of our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, y'all. God is placing some women that's winning in my path, and I cannot wait, and I feel honored to put them before you all to continue to inspire, empower, and just motivate you all. Okay, so until then, I'll be here next week again with another woman that's winning, y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Next Wednesday.
And remember, your royalty. Act like it.
Act like it. Bye.